5,
9,
3, 3,
9,
0, 0.
5,933,900. This is the approximate number of Jews who were murdered during the Holocaust.
Few people possessed the bravery to take a stand against Hitler and the Nazis. Mildred was one who obtained this role. During the Holocaust, millions of Jews were slaughtered at the hands of the Nazis. The majority of bystanders merely stood by and observed these unforgiving misconducts, but not Mildred. Mildred Fish-Harnack took part in a Nazi resistance group called the Red Orchestra and helped numerous Jews escape from Germany. As a result of Mildred Fish-Harnack's dedication, many anti-Nazi activists were inspired to join resistance groups in an effort to reduce Hitler's merciless actions. Her journey began on September 16, 1902 at her birthplace, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mildred's parents, William C. Fish and Georgina Hesketh Fish, each worked to support the family. Mildred was the youngest of 4 siblings, and after her parents' divorce, she moved to Washington, D.C. with her mother, enrolling at George Washington University. She had always had a passion for literature and hoped to be a teacher in the future. During her education at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Mildred was employed as a journalist, publishing editorials for the Wisconsin Literacy magazine. This later affected how she persuaded people using her writing techniques. After her college graduation in 1925, Mildred began teaching college courses at Madison. Later, in 1926, she met Arvid Harnack while teaching. Arvid came to the United States from Germany and began teaching economics. On August 7, 1926, Arvid and Mildred became a married couple on her brother's farm near Brooklyn, Wisconsin. Arvid got Mildred interested in the termination of the Nazis. In 1928, Arvid returned to Germany while Mildred stayed behind and taught English at Goucher College in Baltimore, Maryland. Her teaching occupation positively impacted Mildred in the future by allowing her to use her experience to urge and sway others' opinions. In 1929, Mildred followed Arvid and they settled into the Harnack household in Jena, Germany. They may have moved to Germany due to the Great Depression. She then proceeded to receive her doctorate degree at the University of Jena in Gießen. In 1930, Arvid and Mildred moved to Berlin to create a life for themselves. Mildred and Arvid traveled to Maryland, Wisconsin to visit their family in 1937. Mildred's family noticed that she changed into a quieter person and thought that she was a Nazi. Also, they wanted Mildred and Arvid to emigrate from Germany. Their response was, "Some of us had to stay and work from the inside," and they returned to Germany. Hitler became the leader of Germany in 1933. His genocide of the Jews caused World War II to outbreak in 1939. The Nazi Party wanted others to join and share what they believed in.
Hitler tried to eliminate the Jews from society because he felt they were an inferior race. The Nazis didn't even consider the Jews as real people. Many decided to stay out of the ethnical discrimination because they feared their prosecution. Any repulsive or offensive actions against the government would result in one's immediate imprisonment or death. Mildred strongly despised Hitler's laws and conduct, which influenced the establishment of Die Rote Kapelle, or the Red Orchestra. It was part of the revolt against the Nazi regime. Part of the reason it was called the Red Orchestra was because they used clandestine radio transmitters that were referred to by a code of musical instruments. The red part of the Red Orchestra comes from their links to communism in the USSR. The Red Orchestra had over 600 members in Germany alone. Mildred was a member of this group, and she actively contributed to its work. The Red Orchestra was a Nazi resistance group led by Arvid Harnack and Harold Schultz-Boysen, which consisted of 3 segments around the world. These 3 segments include the Trupper Unit in Germany, France, and Belgium, the Schultz-Boysen-Harnack Group in Berlin, and the Red 3 in Switzerland. Many of the members of the Red Orchestra had never met, for they feared execution. The Red Orchestra and Mildred all performed various demeanors in order to reduce Hitler's relentless control. They had a big impact on how much information was confidential for the Nazis. They passed the Nazis' financial information and important documents onto anti-Nazi countries. The Red Orchestra told the USSR about the strength of Germany's air force, warned them of Nazi attacks, and discovered the number of chemical weapons Germany had in their possession. Also, the Red Orchestra alerted the Soviet Union of the danger of German fighter planes and the amount of fuel they contained. She participated in secret meetings at the risk of getting caught. They organized industrial subversion and encouraged foreign slave laborers to insurrect. They advertised in a legal newspaper and passed military intelligence onto the Soviet Union. Mildred helped an immeasurable amount of Jews escape from Germany and safely guided them to more secure territories. If it weren't for Mildred, hundreds of Jews wouldn't have survived. Mildred typed and distributed anti-war leaflets and kept contact with other members.
They said, we need to continue distributing literature that's anti-Nazi, so that was one of the things she was doing, which was illegal. They didn't have freedom of the press.
Additionally, she published multiple articles informing the readers of the faults of Hitler and his followers. Mildred even joined the Nazis as a spy to collect valuable data on the enemy. During her time as a spy, she gained classified input of the Nazi administration.
Mildred used her teaching skills to advise students against Hitler. Furthermore, she recruited associates for the resistance through persuasion. In 1932, Mildred and Arvid toured the Soviet Union, which got her very interested in promoting equal rights in Germany and the rest of the world. Mildred believed that communism could save the world from poverty and hunger. She began inviting people to her house to impinge their political speculations in 1937. Mildred often changed others' perceptions on the Nazis. In 1941, the Red Orchestra organized radio contact and code with Soviet agents. Although the Red Orchestra was an extremely worthy organization, it was also very dangerous. 126 members of the group were arrested just between August 31st, 1942 and March 1943. Eventually, it was inevitable that Mildred and Arvid would be caught as well. In August 1942, the Nazis captured a Soviet spy who told the Germans all about the Red Orchestra. They were able to decipher the Russian code, gain access to addresses and names, and expose the Red Orchestra's location. On September 7, 1942, Mildred and Arvid were apprehended in Prague, or present-day Lithuania, while on a weekend vacation. On December 19, 1942, a classified trial was held at a court in Berlin, Germany. Mildred was sentenced to 6 years of hard labor, Arvid was sentenced to death, and neither of them were allowed to have any contact with each other. Arvid was hanged on Christmas Eve in 1942 by a foot-long rope. This was a cultivated procedure of affliction by the Nazis to perpetuate torment. Moreover, Arvid died hopeful of Mildred's welfare and cognizant that his wife would live to see a Hitler-free Germany. Hitler personally dictated the retrial of Mildred Harnack due to his displeasement with the light discipline of the original trial. On February 16, 1943, at age 40, Mildred was guillotined at the Platzensee prison. In her last hours, she was translating Goethe in her cell. Those who attended her trial were sworn to secrecy. However, eventually, the word was spread to a member of Mildred's family.
Trial in Germany, ending with the final words she actually said, Ich hatte Deutschland so geliebt, which means I had loved Germany so much.
She never anticipated that she would one day die for freedom's cause. Mildred Fish-Harnack was the only American to be executed on Hitler's direct command. She proved to be a hero throughout World War II and stood up for what she believed in.
Fortunately, none of us has been faced with the awful choices she did, which was to stand up for something she believed in and risk her life, and ultimately she lost her life for it.
Mildred's bravery left an impression on the Holocaust. Mildred demonstrated leadership by saving the lives of countless innocent Jews and attempting to put a stop to Hitler's cruel actions. Her courage and determination will forever be remembered.